Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Bowie in the building. Yeah. Here to show off some of this gameplay I just did. So, the focus of this video is going to be it wasn't a patch that we recently got for Mortal Kombat 11, but it was a firmware update basically. And NRS used the firmware update to buff some characters and nerf others. One of those buff characters was Shao Khan, who desperately needed to be buffed for sure. You know what I'm saying? He needed that buff, and I'll talk about what they are in a moment. But let me start by talking about some of the nerfs, though. So, obviously, you know, some top tiers like Jackie and Cetrion got very slight nerfs to their health. So instead of having the equivalent of 100% health, they have 95% health. So they die a little bit sooner now. And that's the lightest tap of a nerf that they could have gotten. It's the best that those, you know, players of those communities, or of those characters I should say, could hope for. Because typically NRS has gutted characters like this. And as a matter of fact, a character did get gutted in this patch. A character by the name of Shiva. So, and I had experienced this myself as well, where you fight against a Shiva player. A lot of times they were laggy as hell, so you couldn't really punish like you was supposed to be able to. Damn, that was a tough ass anti-hero. Ooh, yes. But anyway, that boy got 32% damage off of a. That's why I love Shao Khan. But anyway, yeah, I was saying that you fight some laggy ass Shivas in a combat league, or you know, they don't even have to be combat league. You'll just fight one, and they would just stomp you to death. Because what happens is, you know, one of Shiva's classic moves is her stomp. You know, she's had the stomp since her debut in Mortal Kombat 3. It was an unblockable, and it's always been unblockable. And it should always remain an unblockable, by the way. There's no reason to make her stomp blockable when Goros has never been that. But anyway, but what happened was, the stomp had insane tracking in this game. Like, you couldn't jump out of the stomp. You could dash out of it, but even sometimes it would still catch you. You could walk backwards out of the stomp. Sometimes. You know. Certain characters got away from it easier than others. And then what would happen is, if the Shiva thought you were going to try to dodge it, the Shiva could delay the stomp, and she still can. But what happens is, she can delay the stomp by an extra 30 frames, but she could choose to release the stomp during any one of those extra frames. So instead of the stomp being 60 frames in total, it could be 61, 62, all the way up to 90 frames or so. And you had no way of knowing as the opponent when the Shiva was going to stop delaying it. And so one of the things that the update did was it only allowed Shiva to do one of two delay timings. Either there's no delay or the full delay, which is good. Also, the hitbox of the stomp was narrowed, so making it way easier to dodge it. Whereas before you wouldn't be able to get out of the way in certain situations. Now you can walk forward out of the stomp, you can walk backward out of the stomp, you can dash forward, you can dash backward, you might even be able to jump out of the stomp now, which is not something you was able to do before. And then probably one of the most devastating nerfs was they added 30 more recovery frames to the stomp on whiff. So it was already minus 31 on whiff, which is a lot of frames, but sometimes you would miss punish her. Like, you would barely dodge, and you wouldn't get there in enough time to do anything. But now, she's negative 61 if she misses the stomp. So not only is it easier for her to miss, there's much more of a punish window if she does miss. You have twice as long as you did before to punish. So, yikes. And then on top of all this, NRS nerfed her health down to 950 or 95%, just like Cetrion. I'm like, god damn. Well, delete her from the game, why don't you? Damn! Yeah, no. And so it's so weird with this company because they really had, you know, been doing so much better with not nerfing certain characters into oblivion, because some of the names I just mentioned, Cetrion and Jackie Briggs and stuff like that, and even Joker, those characters in previous NRS games would have been nerfed into oblivion. But they really, really tried to touch those characters very lightly. Jackie has barely been changed since the beginning of the game. Cetrion got nerfed, but then she got buffed. Even in this update, Cetrion got a chip damage nerf on one of her main moves. But all the startup is the same. All the properties of the move are the exact same. She just doesn't do as much chip as she used to. Which hurts, but it doesn't change your game plan. You know what I mean? So, NRS, you know, packs so lightly in the nerf department for some characters, but then other characters get gutted, like Shiva. And even to a quasi lesser extent, Johnny Cage. Like, I'm not gonna say Cage got gutted, but the boy used to have plus frames. He used to be +6 on 2 strings, and they killed all that. And he used to be +6 off of his EX Force balls. They killed that too. Like, god damn. The character was top tier for all of 3 seconds. And frankly, I think he was being upplayed. I mean, yeah, Johnny Cage was always good, but at no point in the game was he a better character than Sub-Zero. Ever. Coming from someone that played the both of them, Johnny Cage was never better than Sub-Zero. Never. Even at the height of his height, he was never better than Sub-Zero. And he lost to a lot of the female characters in this game. Or at least, you know, it felt like he did. But characters like Shiva and Johnny Cage getting nerfed harder than the top tiers is baffling to me. But that's neither here nor there. But one of the big winners of this update was Robocop. Robocop got a health buff, so he now has 1100 health, which is equivalent of 110%. You know, just like Shao Khan. So they gave him a health buff. And then what they did was they took one of his strings, 1-2-1, and instead of it being -8 like it was made to be -5 on block. Now, when we first saw this, we were like, bruh, what kind of string buff is this? Like, I mean, it's good that now the string's completely safe, but like, y'all gonna make this little tiny ass insignificant change when he needs other things? That was the attitude we all had until we found out that string now became a tick throw from into his command grab. We did not know from the get-go that he got a new tick throw. And now that string, I dare say, it's like the backbone of his offense up close. Because when you do that string, the opponent has to guess whether you're going to complete the string and try to go for your tick throw, whether you're going to complete the string and cancel it into flamethrower or some other special move, whether you're going to stagger the string and try to do something else. Like, the opponent really has no idea what you are going to do when you put that string out there. Oh, this is good. I should be talking about the matches, kinda, but the matches kind of speak for themselves. I had a 72% chance of losing to this guy, according to... Oh. According to the game stats. And you see, I mopped him up in that Kombat League, but keep watching these matches, though. But anyway, so yeah, I almost lost my train of thought for a second. Yeah, Robocop now has some fairly potent up-close offense that consists of 1-2-1 into various moves on hit and or block, and staggers off of that, and he still has that 10 frame mid string that goes into those same things. Now, if they would have made that a tick throw, oh my god, he would have been truly OD. But Robocop moved up the tier list for show with this change, because as you'll see, you know, later in the video, I definitely use Robocop. But about that Shao Khan, though. So Shao Khan got some buffs. One of his buffs had to do with his string, his mid-string 4-3-4. Now you can special cancel even once it's flawless blocked, which is, you know, inconsistent with what happens with other characters, because if you flawless block a string of theirs, it ain't special canceling into nothing, but Shao Khan can, you know. Plus they made the strings less negative, so instead of it being -12 on block, it's -9. Still unsafe, no doubt, but you now have to have a 7 or 8 frame jab to punish him. Most characters do have that, but you have to read that he's going to stop the string early and then be ready to punish with your fastest jab. Whereas before, you could just straight up punish it all day long whenever. So I call that an improvement, you know. They also buffed one of his special moves. He had a low hammer, and that move was, I think it used to be -17 on block, Now it's -14, so it's still unsafe, but it's safer, but it has much more pushback, so the move is more safe than it used to be. And then the EX version is completely safe. Ooh. Yeah. It's time for me to hit this hay in a minute. But I got a video to record, Westside. But anyway. Ooh, that was good clutch right there. That was good clutch. But the low hammer got buffed, and it was, I guess the developers had intended for it to be something sort of like how Creeping Ice is, where it makes his move safe if he meter burns it. The only problem with the move is that it's very slow. 31 frames or so. Perhaps even more than that. And because the move is so slow, characters can straight up jab interrupt it. If you do any kind of string into that low hammer and the opponent reads it, they can full combo you right in the middle of your cancel, which is kind of stupid, honestly. But your job as Shao Khan is to mix when you're gonna, cancel that string into blocking, when you're gonna leave that string alone. Like, you need to mix that up, and then versus using the low hammer and EXing said low hammer. So if you successfully mix up what you're gonna do, the risk reward's not in your favor necessarily, but even with the risk reward not being in your favor, you can keep your opponent guessing enough to not get punished for a full combo, and that's the best you can hope for. But the biggest buff to Shao Khan came by way of one of his default moves. So he has this move called Hammer Lunge, where he leaps across the screen, and he can go full screen with this. And he will leap on the opponent, and before it used to just knock it down, and it still does. But now what NRS did was they decreased the recovery on that move, thus allowing for a combo follow-up. And so now Shao Khan has a way to start combos from further where he can hit opponents from. And this had a big effect on Shao Khan. A huge effect. Because what it did was it actually increased his total mid-screen damage and total corner damage. So all before, Shao Khan used to get somewhere in the neighborhood of 350 mid-screen, which is 35% damage. That's really good for this game. But then, with this special move, now he's getting 376. And what's more interesting about this 376 is he's getting that off of a 9-frame attack that happens to be his jab. So if you're ever unsafe against Shao Khan, your health is going to melt away. And furthermore, now Shao Khan has a method to combo you for almost 300 damage without spending any bar at all. Because that other combo, the 376 damage combo, that requires 1 bar. So, And the combos are just fun. It's just really fun to do. You know, it's very fun to do. It carries the opponent basically into the corner from mid-screen. And I just think it's great. And so now, when Shao Kahn whiff punishes characters, they fry. He will fry their ass for stepping wrong or being unsafe. He will fry their funky ass. You know? And with all those changes to Shao Kahn, undoubtedly he's no longer the worst character in the game. I don't think he's that. But like I said, this is not a patch. This was, you know, I can't even think of the phrase that they use. It's not an official balance patch. It's just some very slight tweaks. And is this rebalancing the overhaul that a lot of people are looking for from this game? No, it's not. It's not. But does it pull the game in a better direction? I think it does. Because a lot of people want this game to be like drastically different. And to some degree I agree with those folks, but you know, I don't think this game needs to be radically restructured from the ground up. Like, I think that's just overkill. I think anyone that makes that assertion is being hyperbolic. This game has a very solid foundation. It matters where you put your character on the screen. It matters how often you use your mids versus how often you like to throw. You know, it matters, you know, where and how you poke. All those things mean something. And a lot of people, frankly, are not used to having to have good spacing, make good reads. They're not used to that. And so this game doesn't appeal to them very well. They just want to do a bunch of combos. And trust me, I love combos. That's one of the reasons why I like Shao Kahn so much now, because he has basically brand new combos that were not ever possible before. But this game allows you to not focus so much on what cool combo you come up with. It allows you to focus on the nuances of the match. Poking at certain points, micro ducking at certain points, stepping back after your negative frames. You know, using a poke to bait a counter attack. Like that. I did down 4 to see what he would try to do after that down 4. Oh, crunchy, crunchy. But to the extent that this game does need to change, I mean, there's some significant changes that it needs to make. Namely to the breakaway system, the fatal blow system, and the wake up system. For the breakaways, I think that if they just make the characters fall slower, out of the breakaway. Like as they're traveling to the ground, that should be 50% slower. That would help out a lot. Because now they're still able to break when they break, but now you have more of an opportunity to use your armor breaks. Now the characters fall to the ground slow enough to stop them from being able to get right up and punish the opponent for doing a combo successfully. Because currently, you can get comboed for initiating a combo on somebody and hitting it. So imagine this. You know, you're low on life, your opponent's low on life, or whatever. You space yourself perfectly, you make a better decision in the neutral, and you actually start your combo. You hit your opponent with a combo, right? But as soon as you launch them, they sit there and decide, oh, I'm going to drop out of your combo that you successfully hit. And not only am I going to drop out of your combo that you successfully hit, I'm going to successfully hit your monkey ass for hitting me with a combo. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what that's full of. Hi, baby. What you got? Oh, yeah. On like Donkey Kong. Yeah. But anyway, so your opponent can combo you because you comboed them, and that's not right. And so, by them falling slower in the air, they're not going to be able to even get up and still be able to combo you, except in probably the most extreme of circumstances. And that's really what I'm seeking to alter with my change. Also, the breakaways need to be a different input, because currently it's down and block to perform a breakaway, but that's a huge conflict of interest, because down block is also how you block all low attacks, and people have gotten clipped by low attacks that they tried to block, and then when the low attack launches the opponent slightly, because the opponent's doing down block, they freaking break away when they didn't really want to do it. That's garbage. So that's what I would change about breakaway. People are talking about it needs to go back to the breaker system. That'd be nice, but they're not about to give us breakers in this game. They're really not, you know. So that's a pipe dream. One of the other changes I would make would be to the fatal blow system. For starters, I want all fatal blows to be death on block. Every single one of them. Negative double digits. At least negative 20 on block. With no pushback. The no pushback thing is the most significant, because there's still characters whose fatal blows you still can't punish. You can't punish them for doing this move. You can't make a good read and then recover in time enough to do anything exactly. That's a problem. And then finally, for the wake-up system, I think rolls should cost 1 bar of offense, 1 bar of defense. That's what I believe. And I also think that up 2s and up 3s should have a little bit more recovery on the meter. like the meter on those should recover at a slower rate. Same thing with cancels, because it's annoying to fight a character. They do a damn cancel on you, and you're like, okay, yeah, they ran out of defense meter for a second, but no sooner than you recognize that they use their meter, the meter's halfway coming back. So it's like they have infinite meter to cancel with. That's functionally what they got, you know what I'm saying? Like, that needs to change. Now, I will say this. To all those people that want a little bit more expressive freedom in their game and they want the characters to have more access to combos, I'm all for that. So if they could decrease some of the gravity in this game to allow for more unique combos, I'm all for that. Hell yeah.
Round 2, fight.
If they want to give certain other characters the Shao Khan treatment and give them the ability to create combos from moves that they weren't able to create before, I'm all for that too. You know, I think that would be a terrific change for this game that wouldn't have to involve them, you know, disrupting footsies and all this kind of stuff. I was so mad when this happened. Oh my god, because I whiffed my forward 2 twice. I was so damn mad. But it's all good though. Can't win them all. And I get them back. Just keep watching. But what else would I change about this game? That's really the main things I would change. Obviously, there's some character balance things that NRS can do. But that's character balance rather than that's character balance rather than gameplay mechanics. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I have a lot of fun with this game, and I have to say that because now a lot of people are actually bothering to run back to MKX. They're dropping MK11 and going back in time to play MKX. You will not catch me doing that. This game, this current game, has flaws. Sure. It's a little bit too restrictive and whatnot, and the gameplay is a little bit too basic for most people. I understand all that. But at least in this game, when you win, you feel like you earned it. And generally, when you lose, you feel like you earned it too. You know, MKX is not like that at all. As I stated to my homeboy Wallace, in MKX, you only have fun when you're robbing your opponent. You're making them guess between high and low, and when you're guessing correctly and getting your big combos and stuff, that's when you have fun, robbing people. Conversely, they're having their biggest fun when they're robbing you. That was cool for the time, But we have a better game than that now. MK11 is better than MKX in a billion ways. And that is one of those ways, because when you win in this game, you don't feel like you robbed your opponent for the most part. When you lose, oftentimes it ain't that you got robbed, it's that there was something that you did not do. Like in this match I just lost, I wasn't aggressive enough. I didn't stop him from getting out in the air. I don't even remember if I had I don't even remember now. But I needed to get more aggressive. I needed to stop him from jumping in on me. And I needed to control more of that neutral. Don't let him dash up to me for free. Yeah, throw more of those out at him. And when I did that, my results were different. But that's my point. My point is, you have the ability to make adjustments on the fly when you lose in this game and see your results pan out in front of you. Excuse me. It doesn't come down to, oh, I just have to guess better. MKX, you have to rob people. Especially if you loved a certain character, like I loved Sub-Zero. You know. But Grandmaster Sub-Zero was a highway robber. The clone, and the shattering, and the overhead and low, and being able to throw into the clone, all that stuff was massively stupid. But because the game had so much other stuff that was that strong and stronger, you know, you didn't really care all that much. And so it's like, I don't understand why people would rather go back and play that game. Well, actually, I do understand part of it. The game had more combos. That's it. The game had more combos. Many more combos. Characters could launch meterlessly, and they could extend combos with meter almost universally. And then they all had some sort of overhead or low they could use to open the opponent up. Many characters had both. That's a rarity in this game. If you want to open your opponent up, you have to, you know, make them whiff something. And that's generally harder to do than people think it is. Nah. So this little quasi pseudo balance patch that NRS did, it didn't address the core aspects of the game, but it did tweak characters, and I do think that NRS could afford to tweak, you know, things like this game does not have you robbing people. Really, is the long and short of it. You ain't robbing nobody in this game.
Final round, fight.
Unless you play certain characters, but even then, you feel like you have options to counter them. MKX ain't nothing like that, so hell. But people are running back to MKX also because they think that that game is fun. I mean, truthfully, it is fun to watch because it's a faster pace, you know. and the opponent's in the corner with one combo and all that, but bruh, it's much easier and much more consistent to just be good and win. Oh, here's something here. Oh, look at that. Armor break. Oh! This was terrific. But I'm sticking with MK11. It ain't perfect, but it much more fits my style of MK gameplay. So I'm rocking with that right there. But just like I'm sticking with MK, I'll catch y'all later. 1.